A few of them are still involved in racing. So again, but I can't say enough about Maggie, who is really the first lady of auto racing in New England. And when you see her at a track, oh. Well, when George used to run at Westboro, and he was very good friends with my dad, my father always had for after the races, a cooler with a few beers in it in the back of the car. And so George would come right up and go, "When are you going to open the trunk there, John? Come on, let's get into that cooler." Well, one night, somebody comes into the Speedway office and they said, "John, you're not going to believe this, but your car is out in the parking lot going around in circles and nobody's driving it." So he's like, "What are you talking about?" And they walk out there, and sure enough, his car is going around in a circle, and there's nobody behind the wheel. Well, lo and behold, after a couple of those beers from the trunk of the car, it was George Summers who was laying down in the front seat with one hand on the gas pedal and the other hand on the steering wheel, and he was making the car go around in circles. That's a true story, right, Maggie? She just reminded me of that. But again, very, very great memories, and we appreciate everybody that was here tonight, and thanks for being here to honor the Summers family and the Westboro Speedway. Thank you.
Thank you, Pete. All right, do we have anybody else in the audience who can share memories of working in pit crews or anything like that? Anybody else who would like to? Yes, sir. Come on up.
I can do it.
Okay, nice and loud.
My name's Steve Rash, and I grew up here in town. Driving home one night, probably 8 o'clock at night. All of a sudden, bam! Somebody hit me from behind. I didn't see any headlights coming. So I stepped on the gas, got a little ways away. Bam! It was George. I wanted to say hi.
Thanks, Steve. I saw one of the posts where on Facebook, I'm trying to remember, it was Jeff Tardy. They grew up on 15 North Street, and there were nights that he couldn't get to the races, and he'd have to listen because it would echo from Westboro all the way to North Street. And then someone else pipes in on Facebook and said, "Well, I lived on South Street, and I could hear the races from South Street too." So pretty cool. Anybody else? Yeah. Yes. Let's go right here next. Hey.
Hey, thanks,
Good to
God.
see you.
Jim Bates Jr. Didn't spend a lot of time at Westboro Speedway. I kind of came into Ricky's group when I was a little later, when he was all established. We did spend a lot of time at Seekonk, a lot of time at Seekonk after Ricky got out of the late models. But right at the tail end of Ricky running the late models, he had a really, really nice 1982 Oldsmobile. I don't want to tell you how we got it, but we got it. And Ricky was moving on from the late models to the mini modifieds. And I will tell this crowd that Richard Summers was a phenomenal mini modified driver. I believe it's 2-track championships at Seekonk. He was really good. So he's selling the late model, and Timmy, remember, we were hooked up. We were doing really good. Yeah. And the car was for sale. It was primered black, selling it because we're moving on to the mini modifieds. And Ricky is just killing it. Well, he wasn't paying attention. And coming down the back stretch, going into the pits in turn 3, going into the pits. No, Ricky didn't pay attention. He rear-ended a guy, blew the hood right off the car. We drag it into the pits, and radiator's gone. So what do? we took George Summers's pickup truck apart and used the part from the pickup truck to fix the race car. Went out. I think we did okay. Back in the pits. It's like midnight then, and now we got to take the race car apart to put George's pickup truck part back, right? And did the staff at Westboro Speedway belovingly shut the goddamn lights off on us? But we got out of there. We duct taped it and whatever. We got back to Upton, but a lot of fun. And Richard Summers was a heck of a midi modified driver. So to Westboro Speedway and to the Summers family, a lot of good memories. Oh, one of the best ones was when Maggie would show up at the racetrack and everyone in the pit crew had to cough up $50 to buy a tire or two. Maggie would all pay us back.
Thank you.
Sitting here thinking about different things that taken place. My Sunday school years, there was Larry Ferris, Bobby Bailey, we all lived up on North Main Street. We used to walk down North Main Street. There was a hot rod club, okay, Sunday morning. And you look at all these cars, they're all banged up. There's people under them, there's people in them, there's people laying down, there's beer all over the place. You look at all the pictures on the wall on North Main Street, which became a lawyer's office afterwards. And it was a learning curve, all right? And there was motorcycles in there. And that was the first introduction as far as where'd they all come from? Westboro Speedway. And that was a gathering Sunday morning after the races, all right? And I can't remember all the names, but I remember Elliott, George Summers. There was somebody who lived over there on Grove Street. Oh, there was all kinds of people that worked out of there. Yeah. And I tried to look for pictures of the Upton, it was the Hot Rod Club of Upton on North Main Street. And nobody come across any pictures. I asked Maggie several times if there was any pictures. There was nothing. But that was my first introduction at 9 years old to Westboro Speedway. We were supposed to be in Sunday school.
We see that turned out pretty good for you.
When I was a CCD teacher, the priest let me stay with my class all the way up. He didn't make the kids get a new teacher every year. I followed my class all the way up because the rumor was that I had most most of my students were JTs, and I handled my son pretty well and held him together. And the kids could stay with me.
And you know, not to interrupt you, Mom, that the one person that we haven't talked about tonight was the guy that actually got my dad racing
Oh, yes.
by the name of Jack Griffin.
Do you remember the Griffins?
And he lived across the street from, down on Grove Street, across from my grandmother and grandfather. And he was the one that got Dad into racing. At that time, it was the Norwood Arena. Yep,
And he had a brother
and
Larry.
the interesting part about that was he moved to Connecticut, and the night that my dad won his first race, October 21st, 1950.
No, August 20th.
August 21st, 1952, was on his birthday. And Jack had come up and had done some work with Dad on the race car. And he said, now, Tucker, you go down there, you're going to win tonight. And he did.
No, he said to him, you start in the rear and come to the front and be a winner. And he did.
Well, Dad won the race that night, and he came back, and my Aunt Barbara worked in the telephone office back in those days, 1952. And Dad was all excited, and he wanted to call Jack to let him know that he had won at Norwood that night. And at the same time that my dad was winning at Norwood, Jack had been killed racing at New London, Waterford. And my Aunt Barbara said, Tucker, something's going on, because they've been all night between Jack's mother's house
And Larry.
and
Larry Griffin.
yeah.
Larry.
So, but that was how my dad even got started, and it was Jack Griffin.
Right behind Colonial Liquors, there's a little house now, but that was the first race car shop in town. Jack Griffin, that's where Jack had his cars, and George used to always
Ben
go.
Wood's blacksmith shop.
Yeah, and George used to go down there, as soon as school got out, he was down there. And finally, Jack started asking my mother-in-law if he could take him to the different tracks with him, because he was quite the helper. And at a very young age, and my mother-in-law let my husband go with Jack, and he'd go to Canada and all over. And Larry Griffin was Jack's brother, and he drove for down here in somewhere in Oakdale. Yeah. But Jack won the night George won his first race was the night that Jack got killed. And it was funny because that day that Jack came and fixed the car and got it ready to go, he started down Grove Street and then he backed up and he said, "Hey kid," he said, "don't call and tell me you won from the pole. Go to the rear and come to the front and be a winner." And that's what George did, and it happened that night.
When I was pulling photos, this one was on there with a caption. What class is this? Go-kart? Is it?
Yeah.
All right. This is at Westboro Speedway, and this guy was recorded going 90 miles an hour on this go-kart. Think about the time you take the kids to go-karts, and then you go 90 miles an hour. Yeah, pretty cool. All right. I think that's about does it. I want to thank all the volunteers who helped out tonight. And Happy Pastry, please visit her, and she's got great product over there for sale. Joan Burrow from the Historical Society over there has our great and popular $15 Upton Mass hats, as well as some other cool Upton stuff. Thank you, Joan, for coming out. And any last words?
Yeah, what was the ticket cost for Westboro Speedway?
It had 25 cents on it.
Yeah, there's a slide up here, 25 cents.
Oh, and I have
Hey Pete, what was the ticket cost at the Speedway?
Well, I have to tell you a story about that.
Pete.
My daughter Mary was over at the fence in the back of the Speedway and lifting the fence and letting all her friends come in from school. And John Falcone went out and caught her.
Thank you, Maggie, all the Summers family for being here. Keep an eye out for our Facebook page. We'll have more fun programs. Thank you.